Good morning. Good morning, my friends, colleagues, seniors, and juniors. And how is everyone today? I'm fine, and I'm here, and I'm back with another new topic. It's actually not really a new topic, but a very interesting topic. And today's topic is change leadership. We cannot escape the concept change. Wherever we go, there's bound to be change, and that's why it is interesting. It's not a new topic. It's very rich in literature, extremely rich in literature. But this is the topic of discussion, my friends. Change leadership. As HRM specialists, we have to deal with change. We actually have to implement, initiate, execute change within the organization, but endorsed, encouraged by the top management. So today's topic is change management. Just sit down and relax and enjoy the lecture. That's all I want from my friends. That's all. Organizational change simply means any activities undertaken with the aim to improve the organization to a desired standard. I repeat, organizational change simply means any activities undertaken with the aim to improve the organization to a desired standard. Some may call this progression, some may call this development, some may call this growth. Whatever you call it, we are dealing with change. Why? To take the organization to a desired standard. There was a time when change was viewed as an offense, but no longer that is. We have to embrace change in order to move forward. Remember, we have to move forward. Remember the Chinese saying, not be afraid of going slow, but be very careful of standing still. A Chinese saying. I repeat, not be afraid of going slow, but be very careful of standing still. A Chinese proverb. Take it easy. Let's go slow. That's what I have to say when I'm talking about changes. As an HRM specialist, let's take it easy. Let's go slow. But let us be focused. So let's start, my friends, wherever you are. Today, change is an inescapable truth of life. We must learn to move. This is change. This is the truth. The principles of change, from my perspective: reset, restart, readjust, refocus. 4 R's. That's from my perspective, which is reset, restart, readjust, and refocus. I'll come to that later. The link between the change and 4 R's is undeniable, and that is why I have referred to the 4 R's as the principle of change. In fact, any change stands on the four concepts I've just mentioned. What are those concepts? Reset, restart, readjust, and then refocus. In most cases, the HRM specialists have to take the lead role in any change initiative. That's why I call myself a change leader. The key question in any change management are what to change, how to change, why to change, types of change. I repeat, four key questions we have to ask ourselves when we are talking about change. What to change, how to change, why to change, types of change I'm talking about. By the way, my friends, my colleagues, seniors, juniors, also try to read if you have the time. I've sent a PowerPoint in the YouTube channel. Just have a look at the PowerPoint. It will make sense. Both my lecture and the PowerPoint together will make my message even better. So have a look at the PowerPoint, please. And then you listen to the lecture, it'll make sense. To some extent, at least. Okay, change may be about some of the components I'm about to say. Change may be about some of the elements or components I'm about to say. And those elements are the 9 P's. For example, changes in product or services, changes in price, changes in place of the organization, changes in promotion of the product and services, changes in people. You need more people? That's also an issue of change. Processes. Yes, at times process may need to be changed. Process. Physical evidence is about documentation. It's very, very important. Documents speak. Changes in productivity and quality, perception or culture. Here we are talking about changes in perception. We call that perceptual change or cultural change. Extremely difficult. Here we are talking about the skills of the HRM specialist. It's not easy to change your perception, but we'll have to try. So, 9 P's: product, services, price, place, promotion, people, process, physical evidence, productivity and quality, perception and culture. Change in a manufacturing sector, manpower or workforce, machine, method, material, measurement, money, mother nature or the environment, management, maintenance. In relation to a manufacturing organization, I repeat, manpower or workforce, machine, method, material, measurement, money, mother nature or the environment, maintenance, and management. At the corporate level, you may need to think about the system of the organization, strategy of the organization, skills of the organization, structure of the organization, style of management. By style, I mean There can be three or four styles, for example, autocratic style, democratic style, laissez faire style. Remember, that is also very, very important. If I have to change the style of the organism, management style within an organization, I have to be very, very careful. If you see it's autocratic, try to make it more democratic. If it's laissez faire, people doing whatever they want, yes, we have to talk about rules and regulations. It's another type of change, an extremely significant change. Everything depends on the situation, surroundings. If it's external, there's very little I can do except understand the surroundings. Supplier, if you want to change the suppliers, you have to think about that's also a change. Suppliers, stuff, and shared values. I repeat, corporate changes at the corporate level. Systems, strategies, skills, structure, style, surrounding, suppliers, stuff, and shared values. Sorry about that. That's I was just having a cup of coffee. Okay. The components just mentioned provide the answer of what to change, but does not say how, why, or how to change. Remember, the components I've just mentioned say they answer the question to what to change, but does not answer the question why or how to change. There can be other elements of change, subject to situation. Now, the second most fundamental question is why to change? Here, the sources of change will be explored. This might also be called the history of the change, which will provide greater understanding of the context of the change. The causes may be referred to or may be related to, I'm talking about causes of the change. It can be related to the environment, technology, changes in the management, changes in product and services, problems related to service delivery. Cost can be an issue, quality can also be an issue, time can also be an issue, changes in the structure of the organization, stakeholder concerns, if any, communication can be an issue, etc. All these are sources of the change. These are the causes of the change. It is very important to understand the source or the causes of the change. Why? I'll explain later. Causes is the reasoning behind the change, whether external or internal. Perception also plays a very, very significant role in any change, initiative. Perception is about the thinking of the change. It's not really about my thinking, it's about thinking which will impact on the rest of the organization. That's what I call perception. It's also an issue when I talk about change. People have a certain mindset. I'll have to deal with the mindset. And I'm not talking about one mindset, I'm talking about collective mindset of people. And that's why I need to understand what to change, why to change. I'll have to explain it to my people why the change is being initiated, the inner meaning of the change is very, very important, very significant. I just cannot say, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. No, those days are gone. People try to search for something, inner meaning of something. It's not that easy. People nowadays ask why. That comes from freedom of speech. How can I deny? How can I deny freedom of speech? People have concerns, can talk, can speak. That's according to the human rights activists. They have a right to say why this change. And I, as an HRM specialist, need to explain the causes of the change. Why am I changing? What am I going to change? Here, fast can be used as a guideline. Fast here in any change, irrespective of any location, we may use the fast method. Fast is an abbreviation or consisting of F means fright, A means ambivalent, S means suspect, T means trust. The fast method. In any change, we have to deal, we will have to deal with with FAST, fright, ambivalent, suspect, and trust to overcome confusion. Extremely significant. If you have to deal with changes, you're dealing with fright, you're dealing with ambivalent, you're dealing with suspect, and you're dealing with trust to avoid confusion. These are the features of trade. These are the features of a change. Fright means being scared of the change. It is not knowing what will happen. This is the fear of the unknown, commonly known as tension, or people are nervous of the change. Here, the HRM specialist or the change leader will have to be very, very careful. We have to try to make people understand why, or we'll have to explain the reasoning of the change. It's very significant. Fright. It is not unusual that people are frightened of a change because they do not know, it's uncertain. It needs to be explained to me. I, as a specialist, HR specialist, need to explain the reasons for the change. Why? Ambivalent is about an unknown state. Some people strive on the unknown, are very happy. Some people are very extremely happy to be in a very unknown state. But most people are scared of the unknown. And this happens when information is not sufficient. I'm scared whenever I deal with changes, when I do not have enough information. Here again, the HR specialist will have to provide the information to those who want to know why a change is being initiated. What is the change about? People have a right to know this. And by people, I mean employees or stakeholders have a right. Suspect means to doubt something negative. HRM change management professionals will have to bring the perception to the positive side. This will take great skills, but we are talking about suspect. Some people may suspect A, some people may suspect B. It's quite natural. It's nothing. There's nothing unusual about this. But I'm to remove the suspects and talk about the positive issues related to the change. Trust. I have to build trust. Remember, my friends, remember my colleagues, seniors and juniors. Trust is a very, very big element. I cannot compromise trust. No way. You have to, in order for changes to succeed, you'll have to first of all create the trust environment where employees trust the management, management trusts the employees. Where there is no trust, there is no Success in any change whatsoever, trust is a set of relationships. Remember, my friends, I repeat, in order for any changes to succeed, first of all, the trust environment or the trust climate must be initiated. So, all these will remove the confusion. Once you've built the trust, remove the suspicion, suspects, dealt with dealt with fright, why people are frightened, and really and removing the ambivalent state, the state of the unknown. I think to some extent people will be relieved, will understand why changes are being made. That's our responsibility, not to confuse people, but to help them understand why the change is happening, what the changes is about, the history of the change, and the benefits of the change. And if I'm honest, I'll also be talking about the risks of the change. People will be clear about what is happening within the organization. There can be the following type. There are a number of types of changes. For example, emergent change. I repeat, emergent change, which means change which is spontaneous, imposed, and must be obeyed. Emergent. Another type of change is planned change, is having a map in front which shows the starting point and the final destination and will include all the stages of progression. This is called planned changes. Also, episodic change is infrequent and non continuous. It just happens. Episodic change. Remember those days of coronavirus? It's a very recent issue. And where organizations have to deal with episodic change, which doesn't happen every time. It suddenly has happened, and the organization needs to readjust to the new environment. And what is the environment? It is a deadly virus. I'm happy to have survived. There are thousands of people who have, thousands of people who have lost their lives. I feel for them. This makes me sad, but I'm here by the grace of God. That's all I can say. That's why I call each day, I call my God. Thank you. Thank you very much for keeping me alive. That's how I feel about the situation. I'm not talking about the rest. But another type of change is incremental change, which means a gradual change, a gradual process. But the most important challenging part of change will be dealing with culture. Culture must be thought about. When you're dealing with change, think about the culture. In my last two episodes, I've talked about the culture. Please, when you're talking about change, think about culture. And culture is about how things are done within the organization. HRM change management professionals who will have to iron the differences and make the road as smooth as possible. Our role as HRM change management professionals is to actually iron the differences, and make the road as smooth as possible for the changes to happen. Changes also can be related to power, role, and task. Changes have an impact, we or may have an impact on power, role, people, finance, and task. Will have an impact, may have an impact. And most all big changes will have an impact on the power structure of the organization, people structure of the organization, role of the organization, finance of the organization, and task. Subject to the change subject matter. Any sort of change is rarely without disagreements or conflicts, and that is the reality. There's nothing I can do about it. Any changes is rarely without disagreements. People have a right, people have an opinion to what's happening. People want to know why. And in these days, information is also scant. It's not easy to get the real answers. It's not really easy. It's difficult to get the question of why. Everything belongs to the top management. They know why. We are here as an implementer. There is no scarcity of change models. There are hundreds of models around. But the model I'm going to talk about is my model, Arbab's change model. That's me. But I humbly say, I'm no scholar, I'm no intellect. The model that I'm going to talk about is Arbab's change model. And I humbly have to say, I'm no great intellect and I'm no great scholar. I'm a general practitioner of human resource management. What I'm saying comes from my own observation and experience. Being in this profession for around 30 years. My change model is about, my first question is, remember, reset. What does reset mean? What to change and why to change. That's about reset. It's about the nature of change. Then comes restart, which means to understand the for and the against elements of the change. Then comes team formation. I cannot change something alone. I need a team. That's called readjust. And last of all comes steps of execution, implementation, and monitoring. That's called refocus. Remember the 4 R's? Here, when I'm talking about reset, this means the organization already is in place, already exists. It is set. The engine has already started. That's what I mean by reset. Here, I'm talking about defining the subject matter of change, identifying the sources of change, causes of the change, history of the change, type of change I'm talking about. I just mentioned it a few seconds ago. Change and culture, providing sound reasoning for the change. That's what I call, these all fall into the reset. When I'm resetting, the engine has started. I'll be thinking about defining the subject matter, identifying the sources of the change, causes of the change, history of the change, type of change, change in culture, providing sound reasoning. Identifying the forces of the change against and for is very important. Here I'm talking about the barriers of the change, and then we have to move forward. Teams is also very important. Last is about implementation of the change. Monitoring of the change is extremely important. My friends, without action, there is nothing. Here is where action begins. I repeat, without action, there is nothing. What's the point in planning something? Everything is about action. And that's where the change begins. It begins from an action. But change management does not come does not become successful overnight. Change must be marketed to gain support. Here, market is a very big issue. Change must be understood, must be marketed, must be promoted to the right audience at the right time. The list of criteria for a successful change management specialist. The change is well communicated, has been able to gain support. Change will is well planned in advance. HRM change leader delivers as per pledge. HRM change leader has been able to create the right sort of infrastructure to manage the change. The HRM change management leader has gained enough support from the top management and also the support from the group of employees. The leader has a good understanding of the environment, internal environment and the external environment. These are the change management specialist criteria of a change. The top management and stakeholders are happy with the change. Unfortunately, my friends, this is the end of this very, very important topic, which is called change leadership. See you all very soon with another interesting topic. Stay well. God bless all. Think about change for the better. Thank you, my friends. Stay well wherever you are. God bless you all.